I'm here with Greg Smith, and Greg is from Psi Ventures. Is that right?
Yes, Psi Ventures Investments.
Excellent. Greg, what are you talking about today?
So I've been working with a guy called Tony Peacock who runs the Cooperative Research Centres Association in Canberra, and we're worried about there not being enough CRCs led out of WA. Makes the whole CRC thing look a bit East Coast dominant. And so I've been helping him over the last few years to try and get more CRCs established in Western Australia. And we've had some successes, but there's a lot more we'd like to do. So I'll be talking a bit about what it takes to get a cooperative research centre, or a new thing called a cooperative research centre project, established, and hopefully get more interest here in WA.
Excellent. Now, Greg, for our viewers that don't know what CRCs are, what are they?
Well, they're what they say they are, a cooperative group of multiple universities, industry people, and government money that comes from the federal government, state money too potentially, to do a multi-year program aimed in a particular targeted industry area, hopefully to bring in a significant economic benefit for Australia.
What are they likely to do for Western Australia's economy, the more CRCs we have?
Well, certainly some of the good ones of the past have been aimed at mining and minerals, but there's a potential to broaden that out to other newer technology areas, new markets.
I'm here today with Juan Otero at the Innovate Australia Summit. Juan, how are you today?
Very good, thank you.
You're one of the speakers that's coming up on stage later on today?
Yes, I'm talking about ICOs and fundraising through initial coin offerings, basically. Yeah.
And do you find that this day and age people are understanding and getting to know what blockchain is and ICOs are?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a misconception in this space. Unfortunately, a lot of the ICOs have been related with scams and illegal activities, let's say. However, there is an underlying technology there which is called blockchain that's actually allowing for great innovation in several industries. The token generation events that have been performed by companies building actual infrastructure, protocols and innovation, they're really an evolution of what we saw in the 90s with the creation of the internet and protocols like email protocols like POP3 or IMAP, and then you have companies like Google or Yahoo building on top of those protocols. I think the innovation that they bring to the table, when you look, for example, at blockchain, a Bitcoin is just an open source protocol that allows for the transfer of value between one party and another. The innovation that comes with it is far greater than the actual risk of the potential scams that come with some of the ICOs.
And so how are you launching some of these ICOs, and what level of success are you seeing?
We saw basically an explosion of ICOs in Q4 2017 last year, obviously with the explosion in the market overall going into October, November. However, if you compare the numbers we have up to 2017 with what we've done so far in 2018, I think up to last month we had over $10 billion raised in ICOs. So there's been a bit of a slowdown in the first 2 quarters of 2018, but still the amount of capital raised is considerably higher than what we did previous years. Yeah.
I think at some stage there we were seeing different cryptocurrencies come up. I think there's over 1,000 different cryptocurrencies out there of alternative coins. Are you seeing it's the same with ICOs? Every man and his dog's basically launching an ICO?
I think it's changing. There's over 1,500 coins out there. A lot of them are rubbish, to be honest. And as we saw, again, going back to the 90s with the internet, a lot of those companies will fail. But those that succeed will potentially become large companies and companies that will add a lot of value to the community. I will foresee a lot of other companies carrying out ICOs or token generation events, basically token sales. Many of them will potentially be performed privately, so we won't see as many crowd sales or public sales as we see today, which is basically an evolution of the crowdfunding. We will probably see a lot more private investors, venture capitals and so on investing in companies that are launching a token generation event or token sale in order to acquire a stake in the company or the utility of the token.
The industry is currently unregulated. Do you find that when regulations come in, it might help people trust and participate more in the ICOs and the blockchain?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think there's a fundamental part that the governments have to play here, which is obviously to protect the users, but also to protect the innovation and make sure that companies have the correct legal framework to be able to innovate and perform those initial coin offerings. The SEC in the US has already put some rules down in terms of what's a security token, what's an utility token, and I think the market will eventually shift into security tokens being issued and investors having the option to easily invest in companies and knowing that there's a proper framework. The same goes with the use of funds as well, and that's where the issue's been for a while. There's a couple of proposals now around people, the founders actually having lock-up mechanisms and being able to draw funds of the capital raise only if certain milestones are achieved and targets are met and so on. So there's a number of regulations that will be coming, and I think it'll be very beneficial for the space.
I'm here with Cheryl Frame. She was one of the speakers at the Innovate Australia today. Cheryl, how are you?
I'm well, thanks, and you?
Very well, thank you. What can you tell us about some of the message you shared today?
Well, I think the message today is that there is government funding available. It's there to help innovative companies. All the different programs, and there are a myriad of them, have their own prerequisites on eligibility and the way things are assessed. Generally, they're long processes, so we encourage people to come and talk to us. The advisors are there to help them to make those introductions. And really, when a company is starting out, there are only two things that they need. They need money to help them commercialize their technology, and they need customers. And the other thing we're able to do is to really open doors for them. If a new company, a small startup, goes and knocks on the door of Rio or BHP of this world, they're unlikely to give them any time of day. If they come through our programs, there's a fair amount of due diligence that we've done on them. So we take in a qualified pipeline and we're able to open the doors, not just in Perth, but around the world.
Are you finding that a lot of Perth new startups are taking up the opportunity and coming to speak to you?
Absolutely they are. Some of them we can help because of prerequisites, some of them we can't, but we always try and refer them to another program if it's not right for our program.
Excellent. Sounds so encouraging.
It is. It's a very exciting space to be in. I always say I wish I'd had these opportunities when I started my businesses. Then it was self-funded, you bootstrapped it or you died. And it's a huge onus on a company when you're starting out to have to pay that payroll bill with no assistance.
Definitely, I think the statistics were 1 in 3 businesses failed in the first year.
I think it's something like that. I wouldn't know the statistics offhand, but certainly the ecosystem in Perth has grown tremendously in the last 5 years. 17 years ago, there was nothing when we started out, and we really battled to find money.
I'm here with Peter Kasprzak. He's the organiser of Innovate Australia. Peter, what inspired today's summit?
Actually, I cannot take a credit. Charlie Gunningham actually inspired the summit we were talking about. Charlie had been helping us, and he was twice already. He was MC at our events. And we were talking about we're going to do another event, and that was Charlie's idea actually. So he said, "Yeah, what do we do? Show me the money." So he came up with the title as well, and he suggested a few speakers that were on the panel. But yeah, it's great for Western Australia, and that's why at the end I was asking a question about companies that are sort of bubbling under the surface, but they're ready to explode in Western Australia, which we have quite a few. And it's from that point of view, I can see that what we're doing here, just getting people together and being able to actually talk to each other, then discuss. Like right now, there's quite a few people still stay behind and talking to speakers, and so from that point of view, I think it's good bringing people together. Yeah.
It's a great chance for networking, and it's also a great great chance for people to learn more about their business or even their industry, things that they didn't know about. Even hearing from one of the speakers from KPMG talking about tax, you know, that's an SME, that's a subject matter expert right there that people don't normally have access to. What's your highlight from today from any of the speakers?
Look, again, I'm seeing people asking questions, and actually our panelists providing answers to people who had no idea that, like you mentioned, R&D credits are fantastic, incredible. Charlie mentioned himself, for his company, it meant $110,000, which actually was different between staying in business or not being in business. And, you know, he built a successful business thanks to that. So it's great that people actually learn about this thing. Greg Smith was talking about CRC program. People have no idea that those programs do exist. So, and, you know, again, you could pretty much, company can double their money in the program. Yeah. So yes, from that point, that what I like. I like the interaction between people.
Lots of awareness, and once again, you're a delight to talk to, and an amazing event. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
We've had people from all sorts of different backgrounds, people from ICO background talking about blockchains and future technology, and some from a tax background talking about the different tax systems and the different incentives for innovative ideas and R&D. So what an amazing day it's been from different speakers and all sorts of different business people that have come here today to network and to listen to these panel of great speakers have gotten something from today. I'm Meszaros, and it's been a pleasure.